Now first we are going to roast some onions. So you can either keep them directly on the flame or on a plate like this. You can apply some oil too. You can keep turning the onion so it gets evenly roasted, and this takes about 15 to 20 minutes till the onions are nice and soft and cooked well. Now once the onions are nicely done, they look like this and they're very soft. So now I'm going to show you how to peel them. So you just take off the outer peel and only retain the soft part of the onion, the white part, and discard all the peel of the onion. The onion is now cooked very well, so it's nice and soft, and this gives a very different flavor, a very smoky flavor to our garam masalachi amti. This is very crucial and very important to the recipe. So you can just peel them and then later on just slice them or chop them into smaller pieces. So here I'm using about 4 medium-sized onions, applied a little bit of oil on them and roasted them. You can roast them directly on the flame, or if you have a plate like this, you can roast it on that. Now the remaining ingredients. This is our roasted onion. These are about 5 to 6 red chilies. You can use more of them. This is about 2 tablespoons of coriander seeds or dhania. This is 1 tablespoon of jeera or cumin seeds. This is about half a tablespoon of peppercorns. This is sauf. I've used about 1 tablespoon. Then there is a little mix of other spices. This is the cinnamon stick. I've used about 2 pieces, 1 inch each. This is the big elaichi, and then I've used about 9 to 10 cloves or lavang. This is about 8 to 9 pods of garlic or cloves of garlic, and this is 1 entire, we call it vati of dry coconut. You have to grate this, and this is 2 cups of tur dal which I have boiled. I leave the instructions. So first we're going to heat some oil in the pan. I've taken about 1.5 tablespoon. So we're going to add all our spices, starting with our cumin, and we have to fry this very well on a low to medium flame, followed by the dhania seeds or the coriander seeds. Now we're going to add some peppercorns. Fry this well too. Next goes in our sauf. This gives a very lovely flavor to the masala, and then goes our mix of cinnamon sticks, elaichi and cloves. That's why the name garam masala, because you're adding a lot of our beautiful Indian spices. Then goes in some red chilies. You can alter the amount of red chilies depending upon your spice levels. If you want it more spicy, you increase the red chilies. All of this has to really give, get fried very well. You actually have to get the aroma of all these spices. So fry them well, but on a low to medium heat, not on a high flame. Otherwise they will get burnt. So just fry them. You will see the color of the spices darken, and the red chilies also change color to a darker red. Now once you get the nice aroma of the spices, we're going to add our dried coconut. All you have to do is just buy that vati of coconut and just grate it on a regular grater. Now you'll actually get the aroma of the coconut too along with the spices. It's a beautiful aroma. So fry this a little till the coconut changes color to a little light brown. And then we're just going to cool this down and then grind it in our mixer to a very, very fine paste. So frying all this very well is very, very important to our recipe. Now once all our spices have cooled down, we're going to transfer it to our grinder or our mixer. You can see that all the spices have been very well fried, so all the rawness of it goes away and gives a lovely flavor to our dish. Now we are going to add our onions, which we have roasted. Next goes in our garlic or lasun. We have to grind this raw. So I've used roughly about 8 to 9 flakes, and we're going to grind this to a fine paste. So now we're going to take a big pot to prepare this garam masalachi amti. We're going to add at least 4 tablespoons of oil. Once our oil is nice and hot, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of mustard seeds or mohuri or rye. Once this begins to splutter, we're going to add some hing, about half a teaspoon, followed by half a teaspoon of turmeric powder or haldi. Fry this a bit. Now we're going to add this paste which we ground very, very finely without adding any water. As you can see, it's a very finely ground paste, and the color is so beautiful because of all the spices that we fried, the red chilies, the roasted onion. Now we have to fry this very, very well on a low to medium flame till the masala or the paste oozes out some oil. So we're going to fry it well. If only you could get the aroma right now, it's just amazing. So you got to fry this for at least 7 to 8 minutes. Then you can see the masala oozes out some oil. That means it's really ready for our next step. This garam masalachi amti goes best with a little bit of butter on top, some lime squeezed on it, and some garam pav or bread loaf. There you can see now, after frying it for about almost 10 minutes, it oozes out some oil. Now I'm going to add a little bit of red chili powder, about 1 teaspoon. If you don't want it very spicy, you can skip the red chili powder. We love spicy food at my place, so that's why I added the red chili powder. Now we're going to add the residue water, that is, when you wash your mixie pot with a little bit of water, you just get the remaining masala that's there. So I'm using that water first. So mix that in well. And now we're going to add boiled tur dal. Like I said, I'll leave the instructions in the description box below as to how I have prepared this tur dal for the dish. And now we're going to give this a nice mix so that the dal and all the masala gets well integrated together. And now we're going to add another 2 big cups of water, because as this dal starts boiling, it starts thickening. So you have to add water. So here I'm adding about 2 big cups of water. And you have to keep on adding a little bit of water as it's gets cooked. And we're going to let this cook for at least 15 to 20 minutes on a very slow flame. Then some salt to taste. This requires a little more salt than normal, so I've added about 1.5 teaspoon. You can add as per your taste. And like I said, you have to keep adding water because otherwise it thickens up very fast. And keep stirring in between. And here, friends, after boiling the dal for almost 20 minutes on a very slow flame, you get this amazing consistency. Please try out this recipe and let me know how you liked it. This is Akshata saying bye and take care until our next video. See ya, guys. To prepare this lovely Goan bhaji pav. Now here I've taken exactly 1 cup of these white watana or white peas. I've washed it well under running water and then I've soaked it for about 7 to 8 hours or overnight. The next morning I just peeled 1 potato, diced it up and added both of them to my pressure pan by adding enough water, and I'm going to cook it for 1 whistle on high and then simmer for 10 minutes. And once the cooker is cooled, you're going to see that your peas or your white watana are completely cooked and your potatoes also are cooked, but they're not overcooked too. So you can just check one of the watanas by pressing them and you'll know that it's all ready, and so is the potato. So now let's see all the other ingredients. They are all easy. I mean, regular ingredients we always have in our kitchen. So here is the watana with the cooked potato. Now we require 1 large onion, which I have nicely sliced very fine. Here are about 5 large cloves of garlic. This is half an inch of ginger which I've peeled and just cut up into small pieces. These are 4 dried red chilies, 2 tablespoons of fresh coconut, 1 star anise, just 1 leaf of mace or 1 petal of mace, half an inch of cinnamon, 4 lavangs or cloves. These are about 10 peppercorns or miri. This is about 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds or sauf. That is kaskas, which is again 1 teaspoon. Now, besides that, I've just taken about 1 teaspoon of tamarind and soaked it in some warm water. Then we also require another medium-sized onion which I've just diced up, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder or haldi, a pinch of garam masala and some salt to taste. Now I have a recipe for homemade garam masala. I'll leave a link below. So now we are all ready to make our lovely Goan bhaji pav or tonak. Yes, I just wanted to show you my beautiful flowers. You can always, pep up your kitchen by just adding some fresh flowers and, it just peps up your mood. So let's start with today's recipe, guys. It's super easy to make and it's really, really delicious to have. So now I've taken a pan and in my pan, I've just heated about 1 tablespoon of oil. Now first we're going to fry all of our masalas. So we're going to start by adding the cloves of garlic. Let them fry well. Then goes in the ginger. Keep your flame between low to medium. Now it's always good to keep a small little plate handy so you can rest your spoon on it so you don't have to later on clean up your gas stop or your platform. You can use any regular small little plate. It really helps and makes the work and cleaning process easier. Now we're going to next add our peppercorns. Now when you add the spices, keep your flame at the least. Then I've added the petal of mace, my star anise. Next goes in my cinnamon, cloves. Then goes in my khaskhas or poppy seeds. Next goes in my sauf or fennel. Then goes in my dried red chilies. And now we're just going to fry everything. At this point, you will get the lovely aroma of all these beautiful spices. Now I'm going to add my fresh coconut. Again, just give it a little bit of a fry. And then goes in my sliced up onion. Now, for those of you who don't know what this Goan bhaji pav or tonak is, it's a kind of a breakfast item and you'll get it at most of the cafes, especially the old cafes that have been there in Goa for a long time. You'll have this bhaji pav served as breakfast and it's so yummy. It's so delicious. So now you got to fry all of this really well on a low to medium flame. If you fry all your masalas well, even the life of the dish remains a little longer and also the flavor is longer. Now I'm just going to let this masala or this bagar just cool to room temperature. Then I'm going to transfer it to my blender. And then we're just going to add about a tablespoon or 2 of water as required. And we're going to grind this to a very, very fine paste. This is very key. We don't want it to be a coarse paste. It has to be extremely, extremely fine. So using your judgment, how much ever water you require, add that. I've added about 2 tablespoons and grind it to a very, very fine paste, maybe 3 or 4 times. You have to get a paste like this. And then we're going to use the reserve water. So that is the water which remains in your mixer pot or your grinding stone, whatever you're using. That also has all the flavors, so never get rid of that. So now we are all ready with our ingredients. Now I've added 1 more tablespoon of oil to my pan. You don't require too much of oil for usars or for this bhaji pav. Now I'm going to add my diced up onion that I had cut up roughly. Fry that well too. Then we're going to add the turmeric powder or the haldi powder. Give that a fry. Now next goes in a pinch of garam masala. Like I said, I have a recipe of homemade garam masala which is super simple. I'll leave a link below, and you can just go and check it out. So now I'm adding my ground paste. I guess I'll add the pinch of garam masala later on. So now I'm going to add the ground paste. Now we've already fried all of these spices, so you don't need to fry this for a very long time, but just give it a good mix so that it blends very well with the onion. Mix everything nicely. Now I'm going to add my garam masala, like I said. This also adds a lovely flavor to the dish. And then we're going to add our cooked up vatana or white peas and our potato. Give everything a nice mix. Then we're going to add all our reserve water. That is the water that we washed up the mixer pot with, so we don't lose any of the goodness. And then we're going to give everything a good mix. And now all we're left to do is add our salt to taste, a pinch of sugar, and our tamarind juice. Friends, if you haven't had Goan bhaji pao, then guys, make this and have it, and then you know what I'm talking about. It's just an amazing dish. So now I'm just adding some salt to taste. I think I've added about 2 teaspoons, but you add it according to your taste. Then I like to add a pinch of sugar. Give everything a nice mix. Now this goes very well only with pao. I mean, you can have it, and then I want to add the tamarind juice. I mean, you can have it with chapati, puri, rice, but it's best with pao because the pao soaks up all the goodness of this lovely bhaji. I know I'm going to come up with a recipe of pao very soon. I've got many requests. I've got requests from recently Maria Bocaro sent me a message saying, Akshita, when are you going to prepare homemade bread? So that's on my charts, but I think I should be preparing pao. That'll go, like ideally with this recipe. So look out for my pao recipe coming up. And that's it, friends. You just cover and cook it for about 5 to 10 minutes and it's all ready. So I just took out some to taste and I just found that I needed a little bit more of salt. So I added it and it is just perfect. So like I said, the best way to eat this is with some lovely pao. And of course, if you all are in Goa and you get the Goan paos, then it's just a match made in heaven. Friends, let's see today's lovely recipe of keema pao, which is super easy. So now in a pot, I'm going to heat 1 tablespoon of oil. Now let the oil heat up really nicely on a low to medium flame. And now we're going to add 2 medium-sized onions that I've chopped fine. Now fry the onions really well till they get a little bit translucent. Now once the onions are nice and translucent, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. So this is homemade paste. I'll leave a recipe of how I make my ginger garlic paste at home. That is, take 5 cloves of garlic, large cloves of garlic, and 1 inch of ginger, and then the rest of the recipe you can see how I make it at home. And now fry the onions and the ginger garlic paste really well together. You should get this lovely aroma of the onions and the ginger garlic. And now I'm going to add 2 green chilies and fry the green chilies also really well together. Now once all of these three ingredients are nicely fried, I'm going to be adding 1 tablespoon of meat masala. Now this is ready-made meat masala, but I always add this to my keema and it comes out really, really amazing. Next, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of turmeric powder or haldi powder. Again, mix everything well together. And now I'm just going to add about 1/4 cup of water. Since we are adding powder masalas, we don't want the powder masalas to get burnt in the oil. So I'm going to add the water. And the minute you add the water, you'll get this beautiful aroma of all of the masala, especially the meat masala. So now just mix everything nicely together. Now I'm going to add 2.5 teaspoons of Kashmiri red chili powder. So the Kashmiri red chili powder adds a lovely color. It doesn't make it very spicy. We've already added chilies to to make this a little bit spicy. So this just enhances the color. And again, I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of water. Again, mix all of this really nice together. And now once everything has come together really well, we're going to add 200 grams of mince. Now you can use any mince, that is beef, chicken, mutton, whatever you regularly use. This dish goes with all kinds of mince, even soya if you're keeping it veg. And now mix all of this really nicely together. You want all of that bagar to go, or fodi, to go really well into the meat. So mix it in well. Now we're going to flavor it with some salt to taste. And again, mix everything nicely together. Now because we added the Kashmiri chili powder, you'll get this lovely rich color. And now I'm going to add half a cup of water because now we want to cook the mince really well. So that's why we're going to add a little more water. And now to enhance the flavor, I've just taken 2 teaspoons of kasuri methi, crushed it up and added it. Now this kasuri methi really goes well with keema. It really makes the keema flavors, stand out. And now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of chopped fresh coriander leaves. I've retained about a teaspoon for garnish later on, but now when I'm adding the coriander leaves also, flavors this keema really well. And now I'm going to cover and cook this on a very low flame for 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, when you open the lid, you will see that everything has come well together. So now just put off the heat or turn off your gas and just add a little bit of coriander for garnish. And now when you're serving this, just add a little bit of butter, about a teaspoon of butter or a half a teaspoon of butter, some lovely sliced onions, and definitely some lime and some nice fresh pav.